My people, what up, though? We back with another episode of All Black Men Need Therapy. My name is Chief.
And I'm Bell.
My name is Prentice.
And let's get the show rolling. Bell, turn your mic down a little bit, B. I think you popping a little bit. Just a little bit.
How about now? Mic check 2-1-2.
1-2. What is this? Perfect. Yo, we back. We back. We all smiles. Last episode was a little hot. They probably think we breaking up the band. You breaking up the band. But nah, ain't no chinks in the armor, y'all. All is well. All is well on the AVMNT front. But we're gonna recap the last episode before we get into it, though. Before we get into that, let's go with the check-ins, man. P, holla at me. Check in.
I'm tired. I need to go sleep. That's where I'm at, man. I'm tired. I ain't got nothing new to report. I am tired. Yeah, that's my shortest check-in ever. I'm good, but I'm tired.
You probably putting more man hours in than you've done in a while, right? Obviously, like you're writing and stuff, you put man hours in for that, but I feel like that's like more fluid and more natural compared to like in air quotes punching the clock.
Right, yeah. Just learning a new balance now. You know what I mean? Like I think that's the thing, the new balance. And then my Wednesday start at 5:30 in the morning and end at like 5:30. So yeah, it's just managing the balance. I'm good. I'm just tired. I'm tired.
How are you managing the balance?
That's a great question. Shit. I think it just, over time you get used to it, right? Your body gets used to being on a different clock. So I don't think I'm necessarily there. And I think like with the newness of right now, it's refreshing though. You know what I mean? So I'm just physically tired. I'm not mentally or emotionally tired. I'm just physically tired. But the newness is giving me like a sense of like awakeness, man. I'm a lot more like I'm up right now because I'm doing some shit different and new. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So mentally I'm fine. I'm just physically tired right now. And it's cool to be tired like that because sometimes you feel, I don't know if y'all ever feel like this. Well, y'all probably never feel like this, but I do sometimes. Sometimes I feel like if I go hella days where I'm just up late at night and not really doing nothing, sometimes I kind of feel like, damn, like, am I working hard enough? You know what I mean? Or why am I just
Why
up?
you got so much energy?
Right,
Yeah.
or why am I up? You know what I'm saying? It's 12 o'clock. I ain't got nothing to do. I'm just sitting up. Should I go to sleep? Or have I not worked hard enough during the day to feel more fatigued? So I'm kind of having moments where even I'm like, yo, I'm about to go to bed at a decent time. That's even making me feel good because it's letting me know that something in my brain, is clicking different, telling my ass to go to bed. But yeah, other than be physically tired, man, I'm good. I'm looking forward to going to Toronto next
I've
week.
never been. That's what's up.
Yeah, I haven't either, but so get to use this new passport, man. So I'm gonna just treat myself while I'm out there and just kind of celebrate and roam the area. But yeah, I'm good, man.
That's what's up. I just recently heard because I got some partners in Toronto and my immediate partner went out there to do some work, and her takeaway was she's like, they're just very fashion forward out there. It's like everybody out there can dress. That's one of the things she came back and said. She's like, everybody out there can dress. Like they just dress so nice. And she was talking about the people that one she saw in the street, and then two the people that sit in our offices, like compared to, the States, I guess. But yeah, I've never been to Toronto, man. So definitely let us know. I want to go.
Yeah, I'll let y'all know.
You want to go, Chief, or you want me to go?
Nah, go ahead. You can check in, bro.
Yo, it's funny. You know what I was about to say? I was about to say I'm in a weird space right now, but
don't do that.
But genuinely, I was about to say that. Like I wasn't even trying.
I mean, it's fair. It's accurate, No.
It is. Today's an interesting day. Not that I'm ready to talk about yet, but today's an interesting day. I'll say that. But overall, I'm good, man. Like today's an interesting day, but I'm good. Like there's nothing really to report, like I'm tired. Like I feel you on that, Prentice. Like the weekends are my weekend, are the days where I try to rest, but I got season tickets to UConn, and basically, and I want to say they had the longest home stretch in the country this year. Bro, they had 5 home games straight. You know what I'm saying? Like, I haven't been, this week is the 5th one, I believe. I haven't been home on the weekend. Like, I'm either going there Saturday morning, coming back Saturday night, or going there Friday, coming back Saturday, or going Saturday. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I haven't raked my leaves, nothing. So it's like, there's a part of me that's like I'm probably gonna give my tickets up this Friday because 1, it's a Friday game. 2, I'm just ready to sit my ass down. So this weekend was a lot. I went to New Jersey. Shout out to my auntie Margie for her 80th birthday. It was a real dope night. It was like a mini family reunion, so that was real cool. And I drove back to Connecticut and then drove to Boston the next day. So yeah, Chief, if you off on Friday, you want my tickets, you can have them because I just don't have it in me. But that's about it.
You said that's about it?
Yeah, I'll get into some more when we recap the.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna save mine there too. But to your point, I won't be here Friday. I'll be in Park City, Utah.
That's right.
You going to Utah?
Park City, Utah. Is
doing a wedding?
Yeah, I'm doing a wedding in Park City, Utah. So it sounds like it's about to be official, like a referee with a whistle. Shout out to Vlad and Epiphany. But Shorty coming down the aisle to like a 10-person choir or something like that. So it's like it's gonna be a big deal. So I'm excited to see what that's like and just experience Utah from them getting there early, so I can kind of just do some touristy shit, maybe see what's going on. But
a snow bunny.
Ain't that like Mormon land?
They out there
though.
Praising Jesus, looking for a bald brother.
And y'all saw that they got that. Never mind. That's gonna take us down a rabbit hole. Never mind.
I might see if the Jazz is playing. I might go to a basketball game while I'm out there. You know what I'm saying? I'm flying into Salt Lake City, so you know what I mean.
What day is the wedding? Saturday?
It's Saturday. Yeah, I'm there on Thursday.
Oh, you getting there Thursday?
Yeah, we got rehearsal Friday. You know what I'm saying? So.
Oh wow! So that's gonna be like a road trip. You going Thursday to Sunday?
Yeah.
Time.
Or you flying out Saturday? Okay.
Yeah. Flying out Sunday.
Yeah, man. So open them dating apps for Utah, man. See what's popping out there.
You know what I'm saying? See what you can find.
Yo, I've been thinking about that too, fam. I was about to do like a live one day and just talk about the dating apps, yo. It's some of you see some of the craziest and like wildest stuff. And like, yo, how do you really expect to catch a man with these pictures? Like, it'd be like, Shorty will have like 7 pictures on her page, and all of them be of her and her friends, all of them. So you don't know who you're looking for. Like, how are you supposed to know which one you are, Shorty? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can kind of guesstimate which one, but it's like, come on now.
Elimination. Whoever.
Yeah, like, I ain't got time for all that. Then it'd be like one picture of her, but it'd be like the camera be like this. and then it'd be her cat and some leaves and a boat. Like, come on, B. Like,
crazy.
It's wild.
I was gonna say the complete opposite. I thought you were gonna say like scandalous.
Butt ass naked.
Yeah.
No. It's really, really like it's almost baffling as to how people would put these pics up and think that they're gonna attract someone by what they put up. It's literally like the selfie with the face covered, and then it'll be.
I thought you meant the selfie with like the phone. Like
no, literally like this. Like, you can't see her face.
Oh wow!
And
then there's a picture of her cat, and then her dog, and then the food she ate, and it's like, yo, like, are you serious? Or be like a quote, and the quote is cool, but it's like, the quote might tell me a little bit about you, but it's like, come on now, like.
Hey man, you know what they say? Love is blind, man. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I'm trying to sign you up for that show, but
that's a whole other thing. That show is wild.
I don't watch it, but yeah,
no, it's actually entertaining as fuck. I'm not gonna front. It's entertaining as hell. But nevertheless,
I want you to go on Ready to Love with Uncle Tommy. That's where I want you to go.
I've been saying that for 4 years. 4 years. I hit him up about that.
Hey, you know my man was on there.
For real?
Yeah, Finch brother was on there.
I think you remember you telling me that. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He was on there.
Yeah, one of my dudes when I was on my man Hamp's podcast, he was on there. They actually getting married soon.
Oh, word.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, yeah, man. So put your name in.
Yeah. Nevertheless, let's jump into the into a recap of last episode. So those of you who have been following the podcast, and shout out to those who have been following and send some feedback. This is probably the most feedback we've gotten on any episode.
I mean, this might be the most on like several episodes, like combined. There's a lot of
people been in the DMs, hitting us up individually, emailing, texting, calling. Like, I gotta say, it's a lot going on. But so shout out to you all, and if you have some feedback on it, please feel free to hit us, man. We take it. We take it on. We listen to you, and we want to support you like you support us. So it's been really, really dope. But let me first start off by saying there is no chink in the armor. We still as tight and as solid as can be. Unfortunate that we it went left on the episode, but it is what it is. We talked and all is well. But in part of the conversation that we had, I wanna take 75% of it and put it on me. Your boy is going through some it's not really through something, but it's a lot on me right now, and not aware of how it always shows up. And in moments of trying to express how I'm feeling, I think I felt a little resistance in being heard. And that's I think that's been something it's also been something we've talked about in general outside of this. And I think that's what kind of like got me in my feelings. And then, I can say this, that was the first time in a very long time that I felt I let my emotions get the best of me in a very long time. But watching back on it, P, I told the fellas I felt like it was like a relapse for me. Like I felt like I was the angry black man all over again. And in looking at it, like I realized that even with the aggressive language, I thought my tone was way worse than what it was. Yeah. Like I thought it was way worse than what it was, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. You know what I'm saying? So I found a little bit of solace in that. But I did connect with another therapist. We had an intake meeting on Saturday morning, which was a great conversation. And in the intake almost felt like a session. We have a session scheduled for Thursday, and for the first one, we'll see what that's like. But the intake was kind of cool. Belle and I, we chopped it up about that, and she posed some pretty interesting questions to me and kind of helped me determine how I was feeling about the situation in particular with Belle. But as far as what I'm going through, I didn't really disclose too much of that to her, but I think I will on Thursday and just kind of help her process through that. But before I even get into that, Belle, I'll let you give your 2 cents, and then we can kind of ping pong it.
No, man, it was a first, right? Like a first for me. Like, the biggest knock on me in the podcast is I don't show enough emotion, or I'm not as vulnerable. But listen, that's as vulnerable and raw as you're gonna get from me, because that shit came from a real place. Like we was talking earlier, and we don't have public Discord. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we've been friends for 30 years. So we don't lash out in public. We don't do that. If we had disagreements, it's handled in-house like any family, right? You know what I'm saying? So that was the fact that you were able to see that was as real as it got, because the emotions were so high. It wasn't time to process. So for me, I'm speaking for me. So what you saw, what I felt was what you saw. And though I'm happy we had the conversation, I'm a little bothered that it took that to get to that point on both our parts. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like there's a piece of us that weren't being either as, I always struggle with this word, as communicative. Yes, communicative as we could have been. And there's a part on both our sides that we weren't hearing each other the way we needed to hear each other. And that could be, a combination of a lot of things. But at the end of the day, I appreciate Chief taking, blame or onus for the majority of it, but it's nowhere near accurate. You know what I'm saying? Like we both played a part in this. And again, I'm speaking like it was like, a major falling out, and it wasn't a falling out at all. Like, we were fine that day. Like, it was
Right.
not a big deal. But I do appreciate everybody who's reached out. Like, I've heard everything. Like, I've heard, because a part of me is like, I've sent the episode to people to check myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I consider myself a very self aware person. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people do, but I especially do. And if I'm the problem, like if I'm doing something that's causing a wedge in our friendship or our relationship, or any way impeding his progress, then I want to know. You know what I'm saying? So I can adjust. So but I've gotten a lot of good feedback, man. I mean, maybe let's start there, Chief. Well, first of all, let's hear what you got to say, Prentice, and then Chief, what I want to know is what was the best feedback you received from everything. But go ahead, Prentice. What's your recap?
I was. It was. It really didn't impact me at all, bro. Like I feel like that's what family does, man, and it doesn't always sound great, but to be honest, man, just watching y'all go through it, um, it was lightweight, regular shit to me. You know what I mean? Like to me, not I'm not in that dynamic that the two of you share, but
Right.
it clearly needed to happen, and I think we're so cognitive of how we speak, even though we're being transparent in the podcast, that if emotion is going to go there, then it needs to happen here. And when I was telling Chief the other day, when I was pulling up to the Pilates studio, I had the kids in the car, and he was like on himself, like I feel like I lashed out. I haven't done that in years, and I was like, that's the balance thing. And then when you said that, Chief, I got back on the phone. When I hung up the phone with you, I looked at it again. I was like, this wasn't. I think you suppressed so much for so long that you thought it was way worse than it was. You know what I mean? Like that's really what I think it was. Is that you was really on yourself and down about it, and I was like, but like, and the other thing I was saying, like, if you're gonna have an outburst, what better space to do it in? Real shit. Like, what better space around? There's, I don't know how many other people you can name. I'm sure there's people you can, but this is a really supportive, safe space. So if we're gonna have outbursts, if we're gonna have moments where we're doing something that's irregular emotionally, this is a perfect place to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like this is really the perfect place to do it. So I admired how as soon as we were done recording, we went to talking about some other shit real quick. And it was, you know what I mean? Like y'all probably felt a way, but to me, it was like, oh, they're perfectly fucking fine, and I'm sure they'll have whatever conversation they need to have if one needs to happen. So, to me, I'm proud of both of y'all for how you handled it. I'm proud of you, Chief, for allowing yourself to have an outburst because I think you suppressed that shit, and I'm proud of Bell for doing what he said he was gonna do in the beginning of the episode, and he was like, "I'm gonna shut up and listen more than I speak," and even in that moment, he did it. So I think both of you guys put some effort in while allowing yourself to be totally honest in the moment. So hats off to both of y'all, good. Like I think y'all needed to do that. That's my opinion. I think y'all needed to. Wasn't bad at all to a sense where I don't think either one of you should have any type of regrets on how you handled it. And I do think though, Chief, but like the interesting thing was people who hit me, a lot of people watched it. So a lot of people got on YouTube and watched that shit. And
Mm,
from jump, everybody was like, you could see it on Chief's face that he's going through some shit. You
Mm.
can see it. You can
mhm.
see it. You can hear it off jump. You can see it. Tell that nigga to go to take the therapy. Tell you know what I mean? And I think it's good that I feel good that I can see you and being new in your life, or fairly new, but not really. Um,
They
to
no
where
dude,
I'm
bro.
not wrong in the energy that I pick up. You know what I'm saying? Bell knows you. You know what I mean? But as soon as we started, I was like, oh, this nigga, something off. You know what I mean? There's something was
Mhm.
off. But I think that's cool that you have certain signals. You know what I mean? You got certain signals where you could tell when you're not okay. You know what I mean? I think
Mhm.
it started with I am not depressed. I think that's where it started. But y'all
Nah,
did
but I
cool,
wanted to
man. We
make
we
that clear though, like, cause you know what I'm saying. But I get what you're
Yeah,
saying.
y'all did good. And I think it humanized us as if that was even possible even more. You know what I mean? I think it was a good lesson to all of our listeners that like I said, man, love comes in forms of conflict, man. And I think that was a perfect reminder. And hearing us back, 5 days later, we back at it, man. So good shit, y'all. Great episode.
For better or worse, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
dead ass. Go ahead, Bill. You had something you was gonna go. I'm
No,
listening.
I
He
asked
had
you
asked you
a
a question.
question. I said, what was the best piece of feedback you got? Also, while you thinking, I think we should probably stop recording this and then make this a snippet and then record the treatment that we have. But we don't have to. It's just an idea.
Nah, let's let this thing roll. People who
But we're gonna
listen,
run up on like an hour and a half, is what I'm saying.
Nah, we gonna cut this shit short in a minute. But no, I think the best piece of feedback I was given, I can't really come to nothing's coming to mind right now, but I definitely had a couple good conversations just about it was more applauding the vulnerability than anything. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, I'm comfortable in that space. I don't really, need the applause for that. But it was just like, shit gets real sometime. And it's kind of just reminding me to like slow down. Everybody who saw it was like, yo, you need to just chill out for a minute. So
yeah, I think for me, man, the best piece of feedback I got, shout out to my brother Donnell Campbell. What he said was, everybody I spoke to was like, I see both sides. You know what I'm saying? Like that was the cool thing. Like nobody was like, yo, Bell, you was wrong. Or nobody was like, yo, Chief was bugging. I didn't have one conversation like that. Everybody was like, I see both sides. I think, but again, I'm soliciting feedback. Like I'm literally sending this episode to people like, yo, tell me if I'm bugging. And I got confirmation that I wasn't bugging, but one thing I could do that he said would be helpful. And again, it's like, and Chief, you probably experienced this, and Prentice, you too, I'm sure. It's like we think about the grace that sometimes we give at work to people, to situations, to things, whatever, right? Like, and it's sometimes, not always, but sometimes that grace isn't translated to the people you care about the most, right? You can be at work and be the most understanding, leader, and then you get home and like your son or your daughter does something, you wild out. Where it's like, damn, where's that grace for them? You know what I'm saying? So I think for me, the biggest piece of feedback I got was from D. He was like, and I do this at work, which is why it was so eye-opening. I would tell my people that work for me. In fact, I had lunch with one of my people today. She used to work for me. She doesn't work for me anymore. But she was a prime example. I would always like, okay, what do you need from me? Do you need me to help you like workshop this, troubleshoot this so you can, get to a solution? Or do you just need to vent? Because depending on what you need from me will determine how I show up. And I think maybe, just maybe, I was always on when it came to Chief, and I didn't sit back and me personally consider what he needs from me at that time. 2, go as far as even asking him, okay, how do you need me to show up for you in this conversation? Like, you just need me to be Bell and listen and not say nothing, or, be a sounding board, or do you need me to help you work through this and solution for it? Like that was very, very good feedback for me. And I also personally think that could be the, what's the word I'm looking for? The alternative to the shutdown, right? We talked about that before, like swinging the pendulum. Mm-hmm. You go too far on one side. Whereas like, I don't necessarily have to do that, but that was the solution that I came up with. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm going too hard on one way, I'm going to just do the complete opposite. Mm-hmm. But this will allow me to be, and this is not just Chief, but to, like my personal relationships, to be who they need me to be in that moment that will best serve them as opposed to serve me. So that was the best feedback I got.
So I think it's just in self-reflection, then we can turn the page on this. But I told y'all a while ago, like my team, like I learned maybe like 4 years ago from my college teammates that I was like the angry black man in college. And I didn't feel that way. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't feel that way, but I was quick to, it wasn't too much talking. You know what I mean? I got a ton of fights at practice and whatever, and it's just like you don't have to like. I just I didn't see that. So when I learned of that, I'm like, yo, I don't like that. Like that's not something I want to be labeled. You know what I'm saying? Even though in the same token, I'm the same dude who give you the shirt off his back, but don't get it twisted kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? And I just didn't like that persona. So when it happened on the episode, it like took me back to that thought process where like, I don't want to be perceived that way because that's not who I am. You know what I'm saying? Like P, I don't think P, you wouldn't describe me as an angry black man, would you?
No, not at all.
You know what I'm saying? So to hear people, who I spent 5 years with on a daily basis to say that, it was like, yo, that was kind of bothersome. And it's kind of like they won't even let me live it down to this day. And I'm like, yo, I'm not that person no more. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But so when I find myself emotionally charged in a negative light, it doesn't make me feel good at all. And when I said I felt like I relapsed, like it felt like I gave off that vibe again, and that's not. And I didn't sit well with me. Well, after watching it again, I'm like, yeah, I might have been aggressive in language, but my tone was I was still pretty here. You know what I'm saying? So it was some resolve in that. But again, we worked it out. Ain't no chinks in our armor, and I'm getting the help that I'm not like I'm out here struggling, but I'm getting some of this weight off of me.
Hey, but I feel like this. As long as the phrase "bitch ass nigga" wasn't thrown out, everything is okay.
Yo, what's so funny? It's so funny how that is like a universal trigger, right? So I was talking to my man D, and he was like, "Yeah, I knew something was up. You let him call you a bitch." I was like, "Yo, he ain't call me no bitch."
Right? Like,
I was
whoa,
I was like, "I don't know what you heard, but he ain't call me no bitch." I'm like, whoa, I appreciate the feedback, bro, but he ain't call me no bitch. like that's a whole nother level.
You know what's crazy? We saved each other all the time, but in that moment, it wouldn't have been good.
It wouldn't have been.
Y'all could have been flipping shit, and I would have watched it and let it happen. But the moment somebody would be like, "Bitch ass nigga," I'm like, "Okay, all right, nigga, we gonna stop the podcast." Nah, but y'all tripping, man. We cut this shit off. We'll talk to y'all next week.
Nah, word. Nah, but to the listeners, y'all, we absolutely appreciate y'all. And if I guess the internet loves the drama. So if that's something that fueled and sparked, some interest in the podcast, then we'll take it. I notice every time we go back, it's another 40 followers, another, you know what I'm saying? So they roll it in now. So we, whatever. It's for y'all. And
that's what I was telling you though. Like when I spliced that last clip that I posted up on the page, the reason why I led with it that way is because, now I told you this, Chief, is because people love drama. Yeah. But how often, and this is what it made me think of, how often do you see something that is actual conflict, but if you take the time to really listen to it, it's from a space of healing? You know what I mean? Usually it ends with this conflict and the drama.
Some bullshit, right?
And there's a part 2 to it and a part 3.
That's a very good point.
You know what I'm saying? But how often on the internet do you see something where two brothers are going at it and it's from a space of love? And if you give yourself a chance to listen to the whole thing, you get it. And you hopefully, like the thing is, I hope that y'all listening can get something out of that. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't always have to end the way it starts. You know what I'm saying? And I think we served as a great example. You guys served as a great example for that a couple of days ago with that episode, man. So yeah.
For sure. I think that piece right there that P just said was a clip. That's a clip right there. You know what I'm saying? For sure. But Bell, let's go ahead and jump right into the episode, man. We let the emotions get away the last episode, and we didn't even go into the treatment. Talk to us. What's this one about?
This is what we were supposed to talk about last week. And ironically enough, the title is "Why don't we go to therapy?" But before I even get into the topic, like I said, I want to just personally say thank you to everybody who's chimed in and checked on us, right? Because that's what I'll also say. There wasn't a lot of fuel in the flame. It was a lot of like, man, y'all good? Or like, is Chief going to get, the help he needs? Or like, what do you like? It was all supportive. You know what I'm saying? So I want to say that, but also like, listen, last week was just a depiction of what our mission is, right? To create a safe space for Black men to openly engage in conversations surrounding their mental health. That's all that was, right? Like that was the epitome of that. Like it was a safe space. Yeah, tempers flared, but it was necessary, you know, and no one was harmed, and there was a lot to be gained from that. So I want to continue to restate our mission, because that's why we started, right? To make sure that people who look like us feel comfortable knowing when they're uncomfortable. So now that that's over, today's episode is entitled "Why Do/Don't We Go to Therapy?" And I thought about this with Chief and Prentice in mind. Now I'm playing.
I don't know how you couldn't.
No, in all honesty, I was curious. Like I asked myself, I'm like, yo, why do I go to therapy? And why don't other people go to therapy? And then I started reading some of the statistics, and I'm like, like based on statistics, and again, I'm not saying statistics is everybody's truth. I'm just saying statistically, this is what it says. So based on statistics, according to the therapy success rate, according to the American Psychological Association, APA, is about 75% of people who undergo psychotherapy experience some benefit. All right, 75%. That's 3 out of 4 people will experience some type of benefit from psychotherapy, right? And then the other stat is time to improve, meaning how long do you start feeling the benefit or reaping the benefits after you start it? And it says the time it takes to see improvement varies by person, but the APA, American Psychological Association, suggests it can take 15 to 20 sessions for improvement, right? 15 to 20 sessions, that's roughly 15 to 20 hours, depending how long you go for, and roughly 15 to 20 weeks, right? That's less than 6 months before you see improvement. So those are very strong statistics, which again, I didn't know that before I asked myself the question, but then it just made the question more prevalent for me. So for me, it's like we started this podcast 4 years ago, right? So my first question to you guys, well, first of all, before I even ask this question, how do you feel about the statistics I just read?
They obviously are true, but it makes sense to me. But I can say, for me, being that it took me so long to start the process, and we've had these conversations prior to going, once I walked in that door, I was intent on healing as fast as humanly possible. So there was no build up to like get comfortable and feel them out. It's kind of, okay, I'm here. I know why I'm here. I know what I want to do. And there was no, sending my representative. Like, I'm here. Here it goes. It's on the table. You know what I'm saying? Until I realized it wasn't all the way on the table and had to, take another leap forward. But at that time, I thought, I was going in there, I was putting it out there, and I was getting some positive feedback. And I felt like from after our first conversation, I was already moving in a better direction, or seeing things differently, or just being able to adapt my perspective. So I have to give a credit to the podcast, because we've had so many conversations about the process of therapy and going into it, our authentic selves, and so on and so forth. So when I walked in there, I felt like I had, kind of like a cheat sheet to start the process. You know what I mean? So it was easy for me. And so I don't think that 6-month thing is applicable to me, just because I walked in like, yo, I'm ready to be a new man. Like, it's not like, let me see what this is about. It's kind of like, yo, here's what I'm going through. How do you suggest I work on this? How can you help? You know what I'm saying?
So 2 questions. One, with that experience, I'm going to use this word, but it's probably a strong word. Do you regret not going sooner?
Yes and no. Yes, because I'm now aware of the benefits, the sincere benefits of it. And no, because I don't think I would have been prepared to receive it as I did right now. So again, these conversations we've had have prepared me to be open to that change. So again, in going in, I keep thinking about that, sending your representative, and it was like, nah, if you're gonna go here, then go. If you're gonna pay, you know what I'm saying, put it out there and get the mirror ready, bro, because it's coming. You know what I'm saying?
So my second question is, obviously you which again we talked about this at length before. Your first therapy experience was with a family friend, right? Due to comfort and everything like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What will you do different with this new therapist compared to what you did with the first one?
So the new is kind of why I left the family friend, because when it started to get deeper into it, I started to feel, I don't want to say embarrassed, but I didn't want to. I felt like,
maybe
I say what, judged. It felt like it was too close for comfort to now get too deep, because I still see her at family functions and whatnot, and I just it was one of them. I didn't want that awkward tension. Like everything she knows now, I would have been comfortable telling all of my family, and not that there's anything that I wouldn't be comfortable telling them, but some vulnerable spark pieces you like to keep in private or whatever. So with the new therapist I meet with on Thursday, it's just one of them things where like I don't think I'm afraid to put anything on the table, bro.
So it's almost like that was a prereq for what you're about to experience. Like,
so
almost
again, the podcast conversation was a prereq to starting, and then going through there was kind of like the prereq to really letting it all go. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's gonna be a good thing for me now, because I'm really in a space where it's like, yo, I'm not afraid. Like, yeah, I could use some help.
Yeah,
and this is why.
Let's just pause for you to say that aloud. Like, that is a level of vulnerability that I would say most men aren't even willing to say, I need some help. You know what I'm saying? So like that is, that speaks volumes. You know,
in some cases, the men, some of us might be bold enough to say it, but not brave enough to ask for it.
Yeah, like not we won't. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. What about you? Oh, my bad. Go on.
You know what I'm saying? Some of us know we need the help, but still won't ask for it.
Yeah, that's fair. What do you feel about those statistics, Prentice?
I mean, I'm sure they're accurate, but again, like like Chief said, therapy is such a personal thing. You know what I mean? It's such a personal thing. So you can say statistically that it'll take somebody, what was it, 15 to 20
15 to 20 sessions to see improvement. It doesn't say to be fixed, just to see improvement.
Right. And then you got somebody like Chief who jumps right in and is going. For me, having still not gone to therapy, I think subconsciously, there's something about, and this is making me think of what you said to Chief last a couple days ago on the last episode, about how like if you can get help, you rather do that. You don't want to do it on your own.
Right.
There's something for me, I think, and I'm only thinking this right now out loud in the moment because we're talking about this. But there's probably this subconscious thing about me feeling accomplished surrounding the idea of me figuring this shit out on my own. There may actually even be something fun about it, to tell you the truth, now that I'm thinking about it. Like the fact that I spend the majority of my time, my free time, entertained on my phone, looking at self help type shit. You know what I mean? Like looking at things that are gonna get me to understand how the body works, how energy works, how my brain works, how trauma works. I look at that stuff daily, like literally. It's really all I'm into, and there's something kind of fascinating and fun about seeing myself do this on a daily basis on my own without being coaxed by anybody else. Then I have the podcast, and this really is my therapy. I know there's professional therapy, but this really is. Now, if I didn't have y'all and we didn't have this podcast and weren't doing this, I do think I would be more inclined to do it. um, I'm curious to see how long it'll take me though, in relation to that 15 to 20 sessions to see progress, because I think I'd be a whole lot like Chief. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm in there to get to it. You know what I'm saying? Like you about to get all this business as soon as I get up in there, because I know I'm not fucking around, especially me. You know, I'm gonna be able to tell her like, listen, I've been doing this podcast for 4 years, you know, or five, or hopefully not five. Um, but yeah, the stats are interesting, man, and I think those stats can discourage some people though. I think some people who hear, "Damn, I got to go there 15 fucking times," in order to even,
Really?
yeah, but like, what if you can't afford it? What if, there are some programs that offer six classes, and then you got to start paying? What if you got some really pressing things on your heart, but you don't have that commitment level to it? Like the idea of going to somebody 15 to 20 times to see any results. It's the same reason why people stop working out, because they don't see results quick enough. You know what I mean? So I can see how that stat can kind of feel like, and if you're going once a week or bi-weekly, then it's like, damn, so this shit gonna take me damn near the whole year. If I'm going
That's
twice a month, it's gonna take me a whole year to possibly see results. Nah, let me get on YouTube.
bro, that's wild that I have the complete different reaction. I had a completely different reaction to that
Man, it
stat.
sounds wrong as fuck to me.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people live in the place of instant gratification, though, Bell.
Bro,
That's true too.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm just saying, I'm like,
Yeah.
yo, this is how I looked at it. I'm like, yo, 15 sessions to see some results, that's not bad. And here's my logic. Most people we know are 30s and later, right? So let's just say they're 30. In a lot of cases, bro, this shit took 30 years to manifest in you. For you to feel like you can get it done,
15
and
hours.
you know what I'm saying? Like that's just not logical to me. And I'm not saying it's not logical. I'm saying it's not logical to me. Like, because like you said, Prentice, one, this is my, comment to you about that. I think you can do both.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think the self-development part is good for growth. But there's shit that you don't even know that's there that you won't get to with that work. Like you just
Yeah.
can't get to it. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think both are necessary. But for me, I see those stats and I'm like, there's a high likelihood that if I go, I'll find what I'm looking for. Like that's how I read those stats. Like I read those stats like this is all positive. It's not like now, granted, if the stats now again, how do they measure this? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I cited the source so you guys will at least know where it's coming from. But what I'm saying is if there was a stat that said, you know, 1 in 2 people see benefits from therapy, then I'm like, it's a crapshoot. Like go at your own risk. Or if you want to try working through this on your own, that's probably the best route for you. Right. But where I'm looking at this, I'm like, it doesn't take that long to get results. Think about it, man. We're talking 3 months, 15 weeks, right? When's the last time somebody started a job and got a raise in 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, right? Like so, but when it comes to our health, we want to see it now. But nowhere else in our life does it show up like this. You know what I'm saying? Like oil change is every 3 months. You know what I'm saying? Like so it takes like this is in my opinion, this is a reasonable amount of time to see results. And not for nothing, if you go through with that period, 15 to 20 weeks, there's a 75% chance that you're going to see those results.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, again, it's all perspective. To me, that's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I agree.
that's more than worth it. But I can see your side too. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying
Yeah,
that at all.
yeah,
I'm just
I
saying
agree.
just
Like
look at it
Chief
differently.
said, like I think that's a good point too. Like we live in a world of instant gratification where we have all these things, placed in front of us that can give us the illusion of being healed. You know what I'm saying? Like we can get on our phone, bro, and we can zone out and look at like that's some dumb shit, and all of a sudden we don't feel as depressed as we felt right before we turned our phone on. You know what I mean? We can do something that's real quick and quote unquote satisfying, and all of a sudden we think we feel better, and we continue to repeat that process, right? Because we're avoiding the long term treatment. We rather take that pain medication that works instantly rather than take the bottle of 30 pills, in the form of that therapy for those 3 months, that gradually, and by the time we get to that last pill and that prescription bottle is empty, we can see some results. We rather take the super fucking drug, you know what I mean? And I think it tricks. I think society probably plays a big part in why people don't go to therapy too, let alone the stigma that we have
100%.
as black men, you know what I mean? But it's just society, there are just so many things placed in front of us, man, that can trick us into thinking that we may be okay now prior to exploring therapy.
Yo,
That's not where I'm at. That's
the,
not where I'm at all. But I can absolutely understand how people can look at it that way.
the internet is a huge factor in all of that, and it's just like I can't tell you the number of men and women that I know who carry a level of insecurity that is beyond belief, but they post a picture in a fly ass suit or in that dress one time and get an abundance of likes and comments. They feeling good about themselves. They ain't, you know what I'm saying? And it changes the game. Not that that's not worthy, but like that internet validation is sometimes saving a lot of people from some dark spots. Because I can tell you right now, there are 11s that I know in person that you see on the internet, like, man, and you meet them in person, like, yo, I had no idea this person carries so many insecurities.
Yeah, but is that helping?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what the instant gratification. Like that's they're avoiding the therapeutic process of it because the internet said they look good.
And what's gonna charge, like what's gonna stop, what's gonna make somebody, and oh, this is the other thing I was thinking about me. I think I'm hard headed and I lightweight, and I'm fearing that if I speak this, even though it's how I feel, I hope I'm not manifesting anything. But I feel like I'm hard headed and I may be waiting for some type of trauma prior to exploring it. It may be because that I felt a sense of growth, and I think other people can relate to it. Some of us are waiting for something to fall out the bottom that makes us go, okay, now I gotta fucking go.
Dude,
You don't think you've experienced any of that though, P? Not this is to call you out, but you don't think that had like the bottom them fell out a couple times on episodes, B?
Yeah,
Like,
when I think about it, yeah, when I had to send Just back, when I found all that shit he was doing, that should have probably been it right there. But I had the Grammy campaign. And what did I do? I immersed myself even more into that to forget about that. And then when that shit was over, which is why I asked you last week if you thought you were down because it was over. When that was over, then I was left to sit in the fact that my son doesn't live with me anymore and is cursing me to fuck out with his mama. You know what I'm saying? Then I probably should have went then, but I said it to say more general, like I think some people are kind of waiting for the things attached to the stigma of a therapist to happen in their own personal lives, rather than during times like mine right now, where I can see progress and traction, being like, now is a really, really good time to get into therapy when you don't feel like fucking harming yourself or the world is ending. You know what I mean? A lot of us we don't do that, man. Like we don't. And I guess I'm speaking in general because I'm thinking about myself, but I think a lot of people do that.
So you're saying you think people wait for basically the worst of the worst to happen?
I think I could see how that could be another reason. I think I'm kind of like the devil's advocate in this situation, like giving the flip side to shit, thinking about things that I
No,
may
and
have
and
considered.
clearly it's accurate. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're living proof that you're there, and you're paraphrasing what you're saying, but you're saying so far that everything that's happened to you, it hasn't been beyond your control.
Right. Damn. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
In a way.
yeah, in a way, right?
Or I'm proud of my response, so I feel like I'm growing.
Yeah, like you got
Because
this
that's
under
not
control.
how I would have responded previously. So I can recognize a level of growth that has convinced me that I'm on the right track. That doesn't mean I don't need additional help, but being on the right track is better than not.
so you made a good point just now, and you said you're proud of your response, which is why you've it helps you abstain from going. So in this past episode, I told y'all I wasn't proud of my response, which was like a catalyst to me being like, okay, bro, just tap back in with a therapist and kind of, you know what I mean, get some of this off your chest. But I remember a couple times, and not to, again, since we're talking about it, but I remember a couple times where you've gone through some things where I had to call up, be like, P, you know what I mean, what was good. And you talked about you not being proud of your response. Like, and I'm just asking, like, why wasn't that catalyst enough to be like, okay.
Couldn't tell you. Could not tell you. I guess maybe in the time of experiencing certain trauma, my response isn't let me get into therapy and seek help. It's how what the let me fix this. Let me figure out what I can do right now that I can control and fix it. You know what
And
I
that's
mean? It's
exactly
not, and
the
again,
situation
we're
I'm
not
thinking of.
trained to consider outside help. And I have this. I mean, real shit, but I'm not lying. Like I got this. This is really therapy for me. So regardless if it's professional or not, this is really therapy. So I think, I'm like, shit, I can't wait to talk to you on Monday.
Yeah, I agree. This is therapy for all of us. However, the only caveat I'll say to that is it's therapy in the form of expression.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so we get an opportunity to speak our mind, our feelings, our emotions in a safe space that we wouldn't have otherwise done
Mm-hmm.
if this space wasn't provided.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's half the battle
Right. I agree.
because I do believe that we're all self aware enough to know when we're going through something. And because of how bad or significant it is in our life, it's very easy for us to count any win, like any win that moves us closer or further away from that place. But
Mm-hmm.
but that doesn't necessarily mean it's resolved. It
Mm-hmm.
just means we're moving away from it. It's
Yeah.
still there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind that we all have shit that we don't want to touch. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to touch it because it will open up a can of worms. And you neither one of you said this, but one of the things I thought about as to why people don't go is because, and this is going to be a very extreme example, but there's things that happen to people in their childhood that's unspeakable that they just put away, maybe never even told anybody. And it's like, if I go to therapy to fix my life now, I'm going to have to deal with my life then. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not ready. I can't handle that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I blocked that out like it didn't happen, whatever the case. But those experiences, whether we want to believe it or accept it, they shape how we respond today. You know what I'm saying? Like Chief's experience of not having a father shapes how he parents, shapes how he has relationships. Your experience, Prentice, with your parents shapes that. My experience with my parents, like I talk about this all the time, like them not physically showing emotion, that shows up in my life today and
Mm-hmm.
how I handle my interactions and relationships. So it's not like these things didn't have an impact on you. We just may not be willing to accept the impact that it did have,
Well,
which is why we
Or we're unaware. Like again, my whole life, I knew Pop wasn't there, but I didn't realize it impacted me until I sat here and watched you two tell stories about your father, good, bad, or indifferent. You still had a story. You know what I'm saying? And that's when I'm like, yo, this shit is deep. This shit is bigger than Nino Brown, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And go ahead, Prentice.
Well, you got a statement, but I want to ask you after you say whatever you're gonna say, like to flip your own question on you, like why do you go?
That's easy. I was doing shit. I was doing stuff that if somebody knew I was doing it, they would look at me crazy. Like, what the fuck is your problem? Like, why are you doing that? You know what I'm saying? So
And you weren't okay with knowing that. You weren't okay with knowing that if somebody knew you, the very idea of somebody knowing that you were doing what you were doing was enough for you to be proactive about change.
it was no, it was why did I feel the need to keep doing it?
Hmm.
Cause like my whole thing was, I'm like, if this ever comes to the light, that's what people will say. Like, what the
Mm-hmm.
fuck was his problem? Why was he doing that? So I wanted to know why I was so eager to keep doing it.
Did you get that answer?
I'm getting it now. I again, right? When you go to therapy, which is why I look at the 15 to 20 sessions. Like, I mean, I've been going to therapy for 9 years. You know what I'm saying? So it's like 15 to 20 sessions. That's like a drop in the bucket from a time period standpoint. I'm getting it now because when my first therapist I was going to in Connecticut, then I got promoted and I moved, and then I dragged my feet to find a new one. But my justification, just like you justified it by saying you do self-development work on your own, my justification was Lorraine and I were still going to therapy. Like, that never stopped. So I'm like, I just kicked the can down the road for my own personal therapy. So I went for a year, approximately 8 months, approximately, and then pause for like, I've been in Boston for 3.5 years, and I started going to therapy in like, I want to say April. So I had been here for 3 years at that point. So it was a gap. So I'm starting to get the answer now because go ahead.
So the 9 years you're speaking of with Low. You're not speaking of individual therapy when you say you've been going to therapy for 9 years, or is it all combined?
I'm not speaking of individual therapy, but the thing about couples therapy is you learn a lot about yourself. It's just not all about you.
Got it.
It's about how your upbringing, mannerisms, response to conflict show up in this relationship. And then how do you find a way to coexist when this triggering moment happens based on something that's from your childhood and now dictates how you respond as an adult? How can you temper that for the sake of this relationship? That's like my experience with couples therapy. But the personal work, I just started back up doing this year.
So what's been worth it if the catalyst for you going to individual therapy was to answer the why are you doing those things? What do you have to justify why you're still in it if you're just now starting to get those answers?
I'm gonna ask you a silly question, but then I'm gonna answer yours.
Yeah.
Why do you brush your teeth every day?
So my breath don't stink, my shit don't turn yellow.
Exactly. It's maintenance, right? It's maintenance. So it's not like if you don't brush your teeth today, you're gonna get a cavity tomorrow. But if you don't go long enough, you're gonna get a mouthful of cavities.
And that's a stark difference, because I'm looking at therapy as I'm not even thinking. I think you got to be in a certain healthy mental space, and I'm not challenging you at all. I'm just
No, this is a good conversation. We good, bro.
You're saying maintenance, and when I think of therapy, I think you got to fix some shit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, you're talking from the space of maintenance. Like, some shit is cool, and you want to make sure the car's still running straight. I'm
Exactly.
thinking the engine done fell out the motherfucking bottom, and the alternator done shut off.
Yeah.
When I think of therapy, you know?
It's like, look at it like this. That's like you're not feeling well. Now, your Prentice, you need to go see the doctor. You need to go see the doctor. You need to go see the doctor. And your response to me is like, nah, but I'm gonna go see him when I feel a little better. You know what I'm saying? Like, that don't really make sense. Like, when you're
gonna die.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, what if you don't feel better? So then when you gonna go see him?
Yeah.
So when you and I can't, this is my experience. I'm not saying this will be everybody's experience, but for me, it's like when like we talked about last week, because I'm at a place in my life, man, where my life is my life. Like, there's the way my life is, there's not really outside of death and, economical things that are beyond my control. My life is pretty, like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like a pattern. You know what I'm saying? Like, there'll be little wrinkles here and there, but like, I'm not gonna come home to no house. Like, I'm not gonna come home to not being able to pay my bills. I'm not gonna come home to, these things. Like, obviously death happens, family happens, things like that happen. But in terms of my like life, like, it's pretty simple, I guess, as a is a word I can use. Like, it's pretty simple. Like, I do my own thing. Like, I take risks on certain things and stuff like that. And that has variable responses, but I don't mind life the way it is. So for me, it's like, what do I need to do mentally to keep life the way it is? And to keep trying to make it better, right? Because we're all trying to strive for things. So I just want to be the best version of myself. And if you're telling me that therapy can help me with that, then I'm willing to try it. If I didn't see the results, I wouldn't still be here.
I'm gonna ask you something, Chief. But to respond to that, I think I'm just now getting there because of the lifestyle is something now that I really value and want to maintain. So even you saying like to maintain it, it just sparked a different type of light in me to be like, because I really want to maintain our quality of life now. Because I
Yeah.
really enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? And I even hustle different now because we've gotten to a space where I'm like, oh, I like living like this. You know what I'm saying? So the idea of being more healthy mentally is a lot more appealing when you don't feel like you're struggling or in survival mode. You know what
Hey,
I'm
let me
saying?
say something real quick, and I'll let you get to Chief. Shout out to my cousin Alan. Man, we be having the deepest conversations, and we have a special bond. But this I'm gonna say this analogy. Here's the reality, Prentice, and this goes for the majority of people. If you hit the lotto to you the proverbial you, if you hit the lotto today for $10 million with zero financial training and zero people in your corner with financial training that can help you, it's statistically proven you will find a way to give that money back. You'll find a way to do it, right? That won't be your intention. That will not be your goal, but that's what will happen because you don't have the proper training. I say that because my cousin and I were talking. We were talking about people that ask us for things. And it's like, we can't be the solution to your problem. You know what I'm saying? So I say that because, like, a new house, a new car isn't the solution to what you're dealing with internally. Like, it's a nice to have, but it's not going to fix anything. So for me, it's like, I need to see what I can't see. That's why at the last episode, I'm like, hey, maybe I'm just not seeing something. But when you start talking about something to a professional, they can tell you about yourself things that you don't realize. Again, like my therapist told me, you've lived your life on adrenaline your whole life. I would have never used those words. But when she says that, like, now these other things are starting to make sense. So how do I leverage her to stay stable enough to get all the things I want? Not the other way around. Not the other way around. Like, when I get all the things I want, I'm going to do my best to keep them.
Right.
No, I'm doing my best now to get them. And that way, when they come, I'll know what to do with them. I'll have the training. That's why I gave the lotto example.
Yeah, that's powerful, because I think that's exactly, I did the exact opposite. Not intentionally. I think that's how things unfolded. Chief, what makes it worth it for you to do now, and what do you see anything in your future that's motivating you to go to therapy? You know what I mean? Like, you're just not starting, you're getting back in, you've done it, so you're obviously willing to do it again. And I kind of feel like I'm just assuming, like, there has to be something now that you see in what you've received that gives you hope, I don't know, or potential for a better future. And do you like, or do you just see in the moment right now, or has it benefited you so you can see something like down the road in yourself? And is there anything specific about your
Yeah.
future that you see being able to happen?
Not necessarily about the future, but it's more so emotional regulation for me. Like, I think what's happened is I'm learning more about how I process stress, anger, grief, whatever, and being the unfortunate, I don't want to say the patriarch, but I gotta use the word patriarch of the family. Like, it's just, I'm the one who has to carry not has to, but has been, like, elected to carry the burden of everybody. on top of dealing with my own stuff. And I've learned that I've tried to constantly help everybody put out these fires while there's one burning in me.
You learned that through therapy?
No, just in general, just like this as we progress in this podcast and just watching how I'm moving and navigating through the world, it's like I'm coming home from a long day and then I get a phone call. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm in the middle of some stressful moments and I get a phone call. Or it's always something. Always. And it's not necessarily my own doing or because of me or whatever, but there's all people. When I say always, there is always something. And it's like,
I also feel like though, and you can say, Bells, you're fucking wrong, but I also feel like there's a part of that gives you life too, though.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the treatments that I wrote. But there I take pride in being the one to be able to help my people, but it's a lot. So I say, what was in on my album? One of the things I say, I wish I was stronger so everyone could count on me, and I wish I was weaker so everyone wouldn't count on me.
Yeah, dude.
So it's you know what I'm saying.
So I'll give you
a balance.
I'll give you a real life example, bro. So what I've learned is, and take this for what it's worth, right? But whenever you help, I'm putting this in air quotes, help somebody, you've essentially made their problem yours.
Yeah, we've talked about that. Yep.
Yeah, I'll give you a perfect example. Like, I got a call this week. Somebody was in a bind, they needed to borrow some money. If I sent the money, it would have kind of put me in a little bit of a bind. Like, I would have had to do more than I needed to do to make sure I got some stuff taken care of on my end.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like a part of me is like, man, I know they need this. Let me just I can make some moves. I'll just move this here, move that there. But then I was like, that's a lot of work for me to do for something that's not my problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's now putting stress on me and potentially my family for me just looking out. So I'm like, nah, if they can wait, then I got them when it makes more sense for me. But right now it's like, I don't want to bear that burden. Like, I don't want to bear that burden because this isn't my burden to bear. And then God forbid, simultaneously, because this is how it always happens for me, at least. The moment I make a move to do some things to go the extra mile, let's just call it that, go the extra mile for somebody, something happens in my life where I was like, damn, like if I didn't go the extra mile, this wouldn't be as stressful.
Mm-hmm.
But because I went the extra mile, now it's even more stressful because now I got to deal with this. And then that takes away from all these different things. So I feel like, Chief, with you and me too.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
Like, and again, it's an amazing quality.
But it's shitty. So there'll be times when like I get the phone call for the money and I'll dole it out and then be like, bro, I need to borrow some money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I gave mine away to somebody. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so, but it's been situations like that where I've had to lean on somebody else to help me because I've helped somebody else, and they're not necessarily even money related.
But the whole thing, that's what me and my cousin was talking about. I don't know, right, how many people call me after they've troubleshot every possible scenario for them to get out of that situation. I'm not necessarily talking about financially, like for them to get out of that situation, or if they got in that situation, it's like Bell's the answer.
Mm.
And what else?
Does it make a difference?
Yeah, absolutely. Because here's what I know: if Chief got a call from me, that means I've exhausted all my possibilities, right? Like I've worked through it. And so the scenario I was talking about, right, is my cousin, not the cousin I was just talking about. That's what I called him for, because our cousin called me for an absorbent amount of money with me as the solution. It's like an absorbent amount of money that you shouldn't even feel comfortable asking people to borrow, right? But I'm like, bro, help me understand what you did to try to get yourself out of this situation before you called me. If it's nothing, then I'm definitely not helping you. Because why should I care more about your situation than you if you're not trying to work through it? You know what I'm saying? So yes, it matters, because I can't be the answer. Because if I'm the answer today, that means I'm the answer tomorrow. And I'm going to answer after that. And I'm going to answer after that. So what you're probably experiencing, Chief, and we've talked about this countless times, you need to say no more for your own mental well-being.
And I have been. I honestly have been. And it's fucked up to say, but I've said it and it's made me feel a little bit better.
Good.
How was that fucked up to say?
It's supposed to.
Like, what part of that is fucked up to say, bro? Like, and again, I think this goes back to your personality, how you're wired, man. You literally be putting people before yourself.
The fact that you think it's fucked up to say, it says a lot.
Yeah, because the reality is this, man. The more you say it, fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it, the more questions you'll have to field. And the other piece that I know to be true is when people, and I'll speak for myself, I can't speak for everybody. When people ask for this money, and I'm just using money because this is just the most recent thing. When people ask for this money, they're the only winners in this. Think about it, right? Somebody you love asks you to borrow money. They don't pay you back. Like, they've gained, you've lost. You've lost your money, and you now have lost a relationship. You see what I'm saying? Like, they didn't care, because if they didn't have any intention of paying you back, they knew that the relationship was going to be severed. And it's like, so what I'm saying is, it's like, if I'm the only solution, there's no recourse. Like, there's nothing that I have to gain other than my goodwill by giving you this money. You know what I'm saying?
Like, apply outside of finances? That same kind of logic in concept. Like, if we take this.
Yes. So today it applies. If we take this and you say, not you personally, but if somebody says, Bell, I need you to do this for me. And if I have to alter my, what's the word I'm looking for? I'll give you a real time example. This has to do with Chief. We had got into it. This is probably the last time we really argued, actually, Chief. This was probably like, Chase wasn't born, so it had to be like 20.
I don't remember the last time we argued.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, it was like 20. It had to be, Chase wasn't born, so it must have been like 2019. I went to Puerto Rico in December, and Chief had some issue with his car. I don't remember what it was, but I just bought my truck.
And I'm like, I remember. I know what you're gonna say.
I'm like, all right, I'm gonna drop my truck off to you, and then I'll just get with you when I get back. And from Chief's house to my house at the time, it was probably like between 25 and 30 minutes, really 25. And I flew to Puerto Rico from Newark, New Jersey, which for perspective, Prentice, like 2.5 hours from my house. I drove back. So 3.5 hour flight, drove back. And then I was like, yo, Chief, I need my car for work the next day. He's like, I bet. He's like, well, bring me back home when I drop it off. I'm like, yo, bro, I'm not bringing you back home. Like, I'm dead tired. I'm not coming out the house. I said, bring your clothes, sleep over, and I'll drop you off at work in the morning. And he was pissed because he was like, you're not even doing nothing. Just take me home. And I'm like, no, I'm fucking tired. Like, I don't care if I'm not doing anything. Like, I don't want to take you home. Like, I'm not leaving the house. I'm tired.
I don't remember this.
No, it was mostly via text. We were arguing. It was on the group chat. It was my first Durango when I got it. So the situation like that, Prentice, no, I'm not, because I would have to disrupt my peace to bring you peace.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? So that's a very simple way to answer your question. If I have to disrupt my peace to bring you peace, I'm not doing it. If I'm not disrupting my peace and I can bring you peace, then I'll do it. But I'm not gonna disrupt my peace to bring you peace.
I never heard anybody kind of phrase it that way. You know what I mean?
I just
Like
thought about
usually,
that just now. Yeah.
yeah, like I mean, and that's I mean, you can't argue that.
Yeah.
And no matter what it is, finances, driving somebody off, you can't argue. You really cannot argue somebody refusing to do anything to disrupt their peace. And maybe, Chief, you're so programmed to be able to disrupt your peace and quote unquote keep going that you ain't really got too much of a problem doing it because it's kind of your baseline. And I think by saying that no and feeling better, you kept your peace and you're like, oh shit, this
Yes.
feels good.
No, that definitely I would say was a baseline for me for sure. Like, fuck. That's what it be. And get up and do what I got to do.
Yeah, because you're the savior, and people know they can count on you. But nah, man, like that's how I live. Like if I have to disrupt, that's why I'll take people to the airport. Like I don't take people to the airport. I'm just not taking you to the airport. Like you say what you want. Like my man, shout out to my man Ty. He stayed at my house with one of his players. He had a tournament in Atlanta. Like, Belly, I'm gonna stay at the house. He's like, but my flight at 6, so I need you to take me to the airport. I'm like, I'm not taking you to the airport.
I'm thinking about it every time I sleep at your house. Like I'm on that Uber early in the morning, and you will be like. And last time when I came out there, you were like, "Bro, get a flight out of Connecticut because I'm not leaving."
Nah, I'm not. Nah, I'm not doing it. Like I'm just not. Again, I say what you want.
On the contrary, I'm bringing this nigga to the airport at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, and I'm like, come on, bro, you ain't got to do that shit.
Nah, like I paid for Ty's Uber when he came here with his man. You know, I'm like, or what is player? I'm like, I'm not doing it, bro. I'll because obviously he paying for everything out of his pocket and all of that. So I'm like, look, man, I'll get you Uber. I'll take this $35. I'm not getting out of my bed.
Not gonna be able to do it.
Nah, I'm not doing it. So that's where I'm at. We didn't even get to my questions for the record.
Yeah, we had a minute. We had an hour 17, bro. Let's cut this joint now. We can double back on this one again if we need to, because it's 2 weeks running. We ain't even get to the episode, but I think people will still pull something from this, though. You know what I'm saying?
It's funny because you haven't said that in a while. I don't know if you picked up on that. Two things you haven't said, what you always say. I think people will pull something from this. And this I like this episode. This is probably my favorite episode. Yeah, my favorite episode. You used to say that every episode.
Well, I didn't like last episode, so.
But you didn't say that for the last like 2 or 3, at least the last 2.
Nah. We've been having some good conversations, man. Listen, y'all tell your people to follow the podcast, man. We doing some big things. But yeah, man, per usual, man, this is always a dope conversation, fellas, man. For the listeners, we good. All is well. And all Black Men in Therapy still got we still solid all the way around.
We're still together.
But let's break this down a little bit. P, you want to take the first one?
Okay, even though that's bail on the okay, all right. My final thought is damn. What is my final thought of the day? My final thought is man, just keep plugging away. Keep plugging away at it one day at a time. Try to do something different each day towards your goal. Even if it makes absolutely no sense. You know what I mean? Like maybe doing something different tomorrow is going to get you closer to getting into therapy if that's something that's on your heart and your mind. And don't just be satisfied with the growth that you've made on your own, and remain open to getting additional resources that can make you a better person. And as somebody who still has not gone to therapy, I should definitely take my own motherfucking advice.
That's it.
That's my final thought.
Oh man!
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and take mine now too. I normally last, but I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. Be grateful for the people in your circle. Learn to accept hard truths about yourself. If you are going to start therapy, walk into it purposeful with the intent to grow learn, and sit in the uncomfortable truth to make yourself the best version of yourself. That's my final thought.
My final thought gonna be quick, man. Just protect your peace. That's it. Protect your peace. I think we put a low value on our personal peace. And I know why, right? Especially people from historically marginalized communities. Like, we came up by people looking out for each other. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying don't look out for people, but what I'm saying is don't look out for people at a sacrifice to yourself. That's what I'm saying. Like, we all got here from help, and again, continue to help people, but don't sacrifice yourself in the process. Because if you can't help yourself, there's no way you can help anybody else. So that's my final thought. Protect your peace.
Word. Hey y'all, we got something new we trying out. Starting November 1st, we're gonna be dropping morning quotes, gems of the day, whatever. We haven't decided what we're gonna call it. We're just gonna post some shit and hope that you take the nugget and do what you will with it. You know what I'm saying? Starting November 1st, I think we're gonna do it every morning. We haven't picked a time yet. We should probably pick a time, but they're gonna be dropped every morning. Set your notifications so when we drop it, you get the alert. It'll be on the YouTube, on the Instagram, and on the streaming platform. But
wait, it's gonna be on YouTube? I don't think we talked about that. But
yeah,
anyway,
that's your job.
We agreed to Instagram stories, but we'll talk about that offline.
Did you not say you was gonna do it?
We literally said we agreed to Instagram stories.
I recorded the whatchamacallit.
Yeah, so you can recap it.
Yeah. Nevertheless, yeah, so that's that. We're on all streaming platforms at All Black Money Therapy. Follow us, like, share, subscribe, like, share, subscribe, like, share, subscribe. Our voice line 860-410-6160, 860-410-6160. Hit us up, give us a text, shoot us a text, call us up. One of us will answer. If not, we'll call you back. But let us know what you think, how you feeling, how the podcast has helped, changed, or whatever for you. And that's that. Do us all a favor. Hug a black man today.
Do it like Nike.
And tomorrow.
Do it like butt naked sex.
We out.
Peace.